Another part of these tool settings here, which are really important, are something called soft selection and something called symmetry settings. And so these are two tools that will help you when you are modeling. There are two other, possible tools to utilize depending on whatever the operation is that you're trying to perform. Okay, so if we use so symmetry settings are really helpful when we're modeling something that has symmetry to it. And to turn them on, I can toggle open the symmetry settings part of the tool settings, or I also can use this drop down menu here. And if I want to model, let's say over the X axis here, I'm going to say object X. And then when I use a component mode like edge mode and select one edge, it will select its mirrored edge on the other side of this object. And that will perform a symmetrical operation on the other side. So this becomes really handy. Right, and now this, because it's in the center of the object, it will still maintain symmetry, but I'm only selecting one. Now, if I want to, I can change this orientation to something like an object Y, right? And now you see that it's selected this bottom vertice, and now I'm able to perform the same operation. So using symmetry settings may be helpful, and it will be especially helpful if we're modeling something that has symmetry to it. So something like a character or anything that maintains symmetry across a particular axis. This is a really handy tool. And then the last one to talk about here, and these are the only two, if we go to our select tool that we have available to us in the tool settings, is soft selection. Now, soft selection is useful for if you want to start to model that with a certain kind of smooth appearance, or something that feels more organic rather than manipulating individual components here. For example, like by default, if I select one vertice and I'm right clicking, going to vertex mode and selecting that single vertex at the top, although right now you'll see that I have object Y turned on, so it's doing it to both sides. So let me undo that and then turn off my symmetry and just make sure I'm selecting the top vertex. And let me go to Q. It's really important. You can select multiple, you can use the select tool while you have any of your other transform tools that are being used, but you might get, if you hit shift, for example, like if I'm trying to select multiple vertices along this edge, for example, if I'm doing that within the move tool, I have it, if I hit shift with this move tool, in operation, I have this thing that says extrude, and what it's doing is it's extruding these faces, right? You can just see that we've added a bunch more vertices when I hit extrude, and that was by accident, right? I said extrude here, and now you see I've extruded a bunch of vertices from those original selected vertices, and that's not what I'm trying to do. So when I select something, I want to make sure I'm just hitting Q, my hotkey for the select. Let me go ahead and select this top vertice and then turn on the move tool, the translate tool. And if I go and translate just this singular vertice here and I move it up, I'm just performing the operation on this one particular point. But I'm able to, using soft selection, let me toggle this open here. If I turn soft selection on, you'll see that there's a color ramp that gets placed on top of my object. And what this is doing is it's saying that the operation I'm performing on this one particular vertice will influence its neighboring vertices to a different kind of degree based on the curve here and based on the fall off radius. So if I have two, and what you'll see is that anything that's maintained the edges in blue or black won't be influenced. Red will be influenced probably, 25%, orange, and then yellow up here into like nearly 100%. And so now if I perform an operation on this, you'll see the other neighboring vertices also kind of adopt part of that operation, to a percentage degree based on this curve here and based on the radius.